I'm turning round, 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 following my feelings crazy and out of bounds, searching brothers in arms. Turning round, 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 following my feelings crazy and out of bounds. Here we are, here you are, here I am moving towards invincibility. So, hello friends of the French Foreign Legion, I am greeting you. You are very welcome on my channel. No coffee, no worky. Yes, excellent. I was asked again, Thomas Gast, why did you join the French Foreign Legion? Why the hell did you join the French Foreign Legion? As you know better than I do, I was in the French Foreign Legion from February 1985 to February 2002, 17 years. I was in the 3rd REI for 2 years in the jungle, deep in the jungle of the 3e Régiment étranger d'infanterie, and then 15 years in the 2nd Rep, the only paratrooper regiment the French Foreign Legion owns today. 2e Régiment étranger de parachutistes, and my last rank was adjudant, and my last occupation was platoon leader, and then maître de tir in the headquarters company. And yes, why did I join the French Foreign Legion? Is there a serious reason for, or is there a serious reason for a big decision like this? Because it's a big decision. Because the French Foreign Legion is not an army like all the other armies, you know. So I have to go back to the beginning when I joined the French Foreign Legion. As you know better than I do, I was within, before joining the Legion, I was within the German ground forces. I was in the Fallschirmjäger Battalion 253 in Nagold, and I was there for 4 years, from autumn 1979 to autumn 1983. And I joined the Legion in February 85, so between the dates, between autumn 1983 and spring 1985, there was a big gap. A gap like about 17 or 18 months. So it's 1.5 years. What I've done in this 1.5 years? Because there's the reason why I joined the French Foreign Legion. You have to look there. And you know, I came back to my hometown, to Bayreuth, and I looked for an apartment. I took an apartment, it was about 40 square meters. And before joining the German ground forces, you know, I was butcher. I learned butcher 3 years, and this was my profession, you know. But when I came back then to Germany, it's the Wagnerstadt. Actually, we have the Wagner Festspiele in Bayreuth. They are very famous. And you know, the Flying Dutchman and all this stuff, very important, very nice, very, very good. And it was always my wish to go there, but I never had the opportunity. But I will do so, that's for sure, in the future. So I came back. I took an apartment, 40 meters square, and I was looking for a new job, to be part of the world in Bayreuth, you know. But you know, I found a job as a head slaughter. I think it's the right word, head slaughter. And this is, you know, in this world of the head slaughters and butchers, you can find, unfortunately, you can find a lot of alcoholics. They drinking from the morning to the evening. And it's a really hard work. And it was not, I had a moment made like this, and I thought, it's not the meaning of my life to kill pigs, you know. It's not the meaning, the sense of my life to kill pigs. So sometimes in the evening I was sitting there in my room, and I drank a little wine, you know, a little glass of wine or 2 glasses of wine. I made some notice here to have a look. And I thought over my life. What I'm doing here, what is life? What about your life, Thomas Gass? Are you happy with your life? And you know, as I was a laborer, I was coming from the working class, and I saw myself just one out of about 50 or 60 million people in Germany coming out of the worker class, you know, laborers in a working class. And what does it mean? What's the sense of being in a working class in Germany, you know? And I thought it over. You worked for other people, You work day and night to make them rich. And you work really like a fool, and you work for small money. What is small money? In the time in '83, I made about 1,500, 1,600 mark. That's about what, $2,000, and 1,500 mark is like today in Germany 1,500 euro. Nothing changed. It's the same thing, you know. And this is a very small money for me. And from this small pay, from this money, you have to pay for your apartment, you have to pay taxes, you have to pay clothes, you have to pay food, you have to pay drinkings, you have to pay everything, you know, for your car, for your dog, for your cat, everything, you know. And in the end of the month, you have nothing left. You have nothing left, and you work really like a slave. And you work the whole life with the small money, and in the end of the day, you cannot even make some money to your saving book, to your passbook, to your livret A. So the life I lived did not permit me to make a big holiday, to have any possession or a property. No, you're working like a slave, like a slave, like a slave, to make other people rich, and that's it. And this is not a life. This was not a life for me, you know. And this was the first reason why I say I will join the French Foreign Legion, because I don't want a life of a slave. The second reason why I joined the French Foreign Legion is really crazy, and I think you may not believe me when I tell you the reason, but it was like this, you know. And you know, when I was a young boy, I read a lot of books. I read a lot of books. I three books like this, thick like this, in 1 week. And when I was a young boy, a schooler, I fell in love with a girl, and she was about 10 years, 11 years old. And sometimes we were looking towards each other, but she was coming from the upper class, yeah, from the upper class, and I was a laborer. I was coming from the working class, and there was never ever a chance for me to get in touch with this girl, because their parents did not allow that we could come together. And as I told you before, I read a lot of books, and I read also one time a book in my life written from Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. You may know him because he wrote the books. He wrote Sherlock Holmes. But there was a special book he wrote. It was The Lost World, you know, Professor Challenger and all this stuff. And there was a reporter, and his name was Edward Malone. And he fell in love with the daughter of Professor Challenger. But it was the same situation, you know. In the eyes of the father and in the eyes of the daughter, he needed to be somebody special, that he could have the chance that they could come together. And so was my situation a little bit, you know. And Edward Malone, to impress the girl, he said yes. He conducted a dangerous and adventurous mission, you know. And his aim was to impress the girl, to come back as a hero, so that there was an agreement. Okay, now we can share our life together. Now we can be together as one, you know. And so was my situation. I wanted to do something other men will never do, to come back. I wanted to live a life adventurous and dangerous, to come back as a hero. At that, the parents of the girl and the girl herself say, yes, this is a hero, and now we can come together. But when I left for the French Foreign Legion, when I was in the French Foreign Legion, it was so excited. I was so excited, so an excitement, and so adventurous and so dangerous. I forget the girl, and I stayed in the French Foreign Legion. I think this was the best decision of my life. So I did not come back as a hero. I stayed 17 years. The girl, finish. She was pushed out of my mind forever, and I stayed in the French Foreign Legion. And there I started to live my real life. My real life I still have in my head, being an old man now, sitting in Germany, back in Germany, having reached the age of 60 years. And I don't know what happened with the girl. And to be honest, I don't care. I lived my adventure. I impressed myself. And that was maybe the aim of the game. So, but this was the real reason for me to join the French Foreign Legion. Sure. Crazy, but sure. Yeah. And the third reason why I joined the French for Legion was simple. I wanted to make the difference, you know. I never wanted to be a man like all the others out there. I refused the idea to be Mr. Joe Block. I refused the idea to be Mr. Joe Sixpack, the average punter, you know. I refused the idea to make a life, to live the same life as all the men outside I knew, you know. What's a day in a life of a normal man of Mr. Joe Block? I will tell you. Breakfast, work, lunch, work, coming home, dinner, sleep, and then the next day all the same things again. You know, breakfast, work, lunch, work, dinner, coming home, family, sleep, and the next day again. And this for 1 week, for 1 month, for 1 year, for 10 years, for 40 years. You know, all the men have done this. All the men I knew before joining the French for Legion, they lived this life, you know. And I refused the idea to be like them. I wanted to make out of me something special. I wanted to do something other men won't do in their life. And that's the problem, you know. And in the life of the other men I knew, there was no excitement, there was no danger, there was no risk. They refused danger, they refused risk, they refused to live a life too exciting, you know. But this is what I wanted. I wanted risk, I wanted changement, I wanted alternatives, I wanted danger, and this is what I was looking for. And I wanted to make the difference, me and Joe Block out there. I refused to be Joe Block. I refused to be an ordinary man. And that's why I joined the French for Legion. That's it. And the next reason why I joined the French for Legion was also simple. Not being Mr. Joe Block, not refusing to be Mr. Joe Block. I wanted to find out who I really am. What is in me? What is in me? What can I do? What I am able? I wanted to go to my limits, to push my limits forward, you know, push and push and push my physical limit and my psychological limits, you know. I wanted to know and to find out for me what it is to have hunger, to be starved, really starved, what it is to have thirst, you know, to be thirsty, what it is to have your feet open because of marching through the desert for 10 kilometers, for 50 kilometers, for 100 kilometers. I wanted to know what it is when you feel a lot of stress, when you feel the danger of death in your neck, you know. I wanted to reach all these limits, you know. I wanted to know what it is to be deep in the jungle. You, yourself, and you, just your friends, just your weapon, lot of dangers, lot of risk. I wanted to go close to my limit, physical and psychological, push the limit, go over the limit, jump down on the other side and going forward, you know. I wanted to try and to test my limits, and that's why I joined the French for Legion, to find out who am I. What am I able to do? What is in me? What can I do? Is there anything I cannot do in my life? That's it. So we are far from being finished. I'm not finished. There are other reasons, you know. When I joined the French for Legion, and before joining the Legion, I looked back to my life, and I was terribly missing a father, because I never had a father in my life. You know, my father was an American soldier. He was a black soldier, and he was stationed in Bayreuth in Germany with his troop in Bindlach in Christiansand barracks, you know. And this was in the year between 1955 and 1961, and I was born in 61. But my father, like a lot of American soldiers, left for going back in the United States, maybe to his family, and he left me alone, and I never had a father. And so life didn't give me a red line to follow. And my mother, of course, like all the mothers who had to educate their sons without a man on their sides, she had problems to show me what's the life of a man, you know. And she could hardly educate to me all the virtues of a man. What it is to be a man, because she was a girl, she was a mother, but she was not a father, she was not a man. And it's hard for them. It's hard for them, when you grow up self only with your mother as mentor, and she couldn't tell me all about your virtues, like straightness, like frankness, like tolerance, like being a hard man, like being not a liar, like being going this way, limit right, limit left. Here we go. This is the way to go as a man. She couldn't teach me what it is to be tough. She couldn't teach me what it is to be to live a life going through all the limits I told you before. And the French for Legion was for me like a father. And the French for Legion took me by the hand like a father should do. And the French for Legion guided me through all those virtues, to all these virtues, The French for Legion for me was like a father. Yeah? A father I missed in the life I had before. And that's why I joined the French for Legion. But I didn't know it. I didn't knew it at this time. I only knew it a couple of years later, because I was looking in the French for Legion something who can replace my father, somebody or an institution who could guide me through life, who gave me a red line to follow. And this was a very important step, joining the French for Legion, because I had no one who could say life is like this. That's it. No coffee, no working. Yeah.